How are we going, everybody? Don't mind the nature's noise in the background, the little sheep or the lamb and the dog's drinking. Can you hear that? Anyway, we're in the little veggie garden here. Now, I've been thinking about what I've been doing here over the last few months, which is not a lot because it's been so cold. We've had the chickens come out into the garden, free range that is, and they've wandered around 20 acres. And they've really taken a liking to the property to the point where they've actually dug up a lot of plants. It was okay earlier on, but they got too comfortable, too complacent, and artichokes were getting dug up. They've eaten all the broccoli to the ground, whatever was left in the ground. They dug up even the spring onions. If you remember a while ago, we planted some spring onions. We cut the bases off and we replanted over here. You can see how undulating the soil is. I mean, it's a little bit of soil there, but it's all uneven because they came in here and they dug up. Here's a spring onion. There's one there. There's one there. Oh, there it is. It's there. These ones are okay. All here got dug out, and the other rows that I put over there are completely gone. So, and they dug the corners out as well, and they've eaten the lettuce back down again for me. So they're doing a wonderful job. Needless to say, they're very healthy chickens, by the way. So apart from that, we've locked them back up, and we're going to give them lots of straw and green so they can enjoy in their own pen. We're going to rebuild some of these garden beds and we're going to raise them again, because we've been here about 3 years, 4 years now. This is our fourth spring we're going through, and each year has been slightly different with the weather. And I'm sure you've noticed the same with your garden as far as the microclimate's concerned, what goes on throughout the different seasons. We found this year with winter it's been a lot colder, a lot more frosty than previous years in our place, on our property that is. So, you know, that's not a reflection on everybody's property. So you need to take, analyse your own backyard, front yard, or wherever you plant. So what I'm saying there is, when it comes to planting for springtime, I don't think I'll be putting in a really early crop. I say that now, but I'll probably get the change of heart as the weather warms up. But again, it's August and I'm nowhere near ready, as far as the weather's concerned, I should say, in planting out my garden. But that doesn't mean that your garden in your backyard or wherever you are, I mean, if you're in the northern parts of Australia, you already got your tomatoes harvesting at this stage, or in the lower parts around New South Wales, you're probably ready to plant out. It depends on what the climate's like there. I just had a look at the temperature. Currently, we're standing at about 9 degrees, and it feels like about 6, what it says on our little weather app. So it's afternoon. We're just filming this today, which is going to be, as you're watching it, you know, about 12 hours later, 15 hours later. The weather is nowhere near ready. And another example for, as far as our crop is concerned, our potatoes that we planted in the grow bags, and I've given a lot of grow bags as trials for different people at different parts around Victoria, that is, 90% of them have already got leaves growing up out of the grow bags. Come over here, have a look at ours. Now these were planted, a month, 2 months ago, and we've only just started to see growth coming out of them. I haven't moved them so I can cut the lawns around them, so don't mind that. That's the only ones I haven't moved, I suppose, around the whole garden. But here we've got the 4 varieties. I can't remember what they are, I mean in what order they are. I did film them and photograph them. So we've got a Dutch cream, we've got Desiree, I think we've got, it doesn't really matter at the moment, does it? Because they're taking forever to grow. But by comparison to many of you, because when we did promote these earlier on, a lot of you bought them, and I'd love to hear from you how yours are going. Just send me a pic or post it on this video at the bottom of it, and let us see what yours are looking like, because I love comparing to seeing what the climates are like by comparison to one location where we are out here southwest. And it is really cold, and it's been raining on and off again today, so we can't really get to do much in the garden. But if you've got potatoes growing like this, it's a good sign. Now, the other ones in the garden that I have, did I mention about my chickens? Come along. And how wonderful they are. I've planted these potatoes, I kid you not, at least 4 times in the ground. A lot of them I leave behind the seed potatoes, and some of the larger ones that I find throughout the garden, I replant in. And if you're seeing anything on the surface, and don't ignore the weeds, it's going to get weeded. That's one thing I was hoping the chickens would do. It'll get weeded, but what's happened here is, look, potatoes. Dug out of the ground, sprouting up. Here, have a look at this one here. That's Mr. Milky, sooking again. We're trying to wean him off the bottle, folks. He's been eating really well. Have a look at this. Look at this. Dug out of the ground. So we've got to top dress them. One thing with potatoes, if you haven't grown them and you don't know this already, don't leave them out in exposed sunlight. This is yesterday. This was dug up yesterday. I've come out today because we had a lot of rain after yesterday. The chickens were out. I've locked them up. They're not coming out anytime soon. They're sitting there looking at me, but they'll be okay. If you've got potatoes sticking out of your ground, cover them over. Don't let them expose like that. They'll go green and gaseous and all poisonous and all that sort of stuff, and you can't eat them. But as far as growing other ones, they're fine, okay? Obviously, you use them as a seed potato. Keep them in the ground, cover them over, and keep mulching up. You can add a sort of a coarse mulch, a little bit of compost mixed into it as well. It doesn't have to be a heavy base soil as they're growing. You just don't want them to pop their heads out as they are here. Out for 1 day or 2 days is not going to hurt them, just like these ones. So these are going to go back in the ground again, and let's hope they stay in the ground this time. Check your garden out, check out the microclimate as far as what's going on, because spring is only around the corner and it doesn't necessarily mean you can plant straight away. I may have a change of heart again, as I do always. I change with the weather, folks. It may come nice and warm, but just be ready for a couple of sudden cold snaps. Get your little grow tunnels ready, get your little mini hothouses ready, get your shade cloth over the top if you like, just in case you get a real cold night, one night after you've planted your potatoes and tomatoes and things like that. If you've got a better climate, microclimate than what I have going on out here, then by all means go out there and start planting and get it ready for an early spring crop. But don't plant it all at once. You know, space out your planting. So if you're going to plant 20 tomatoes, unless you're going to be collecting and harvesting for sauce, but if it's for table eating, that is, plant 4 this week, for example. In about 3 weeks, plant another 4 tomatoes, or 5, whatever number you choose. Plant out 2 or 3 sessions, so you get a later season. Space it over 2 months, for example. So start in September, finish by the end of October, and that way you've got 8 weeks difference between the first tomato plant that went in to the last one. And hopefully the weather is along a good summer season that we have, so you have a good harvest, so you get at least 6 to 8 months of tomato harvesting, and it is obviously weather predicted as well. In the meantime, check out our website if you need some seeds or fertilizers or any garden tools. We've got some great specials running, up to 65% off, and Black Grit 70% off, folks. You know, it's locked down and we want you to have a great garden and not have to spend the world of money to be able to do it as well. Get your seeds, get your fertilizers, and get into the garden. From me, Vasily, Marisi.